Hello, I'm Tasos Calantzis, the CEO of Terrestrial, which is an industrial design and design thinking company here in Pretoria, South Africa. I'm the jury captain of the social impact jury for the C77 Design Awards. And we are here in Pretoria, South Africa, broadcasting from the Innovation Hub. And I have one member of my jury with me today.
Just one member. My name's Allon Raiz. I am the CEO of Raiz Corp, a for-profit incubator in South Africa, looking after 300 businesses in South Africa and Angola.
Yeah, Allon is a go-to guy for a lot of people about entrepreneurship. That's why he's on the panel. We also had with us on the panel Seelan, Naidoo, who is a senior consultant at the South African Bureau of Standards. And he is a strategy consultant. He's also a university professor. He's got a long track record in working in NGOs, especially on managing them. And until recently, he was the manager in charge of the South African National Design Institute. The other member of the jury who's not here today, he's in Shanghai. Is McLean Sibanda. He is the CEO of the Innovation Hub, where we are today in this awesome conference room. And he is a patent attorney and an engineer. And he's got a long history of working with funding for startups, and especially startups with a social role. So, on to the judging process, Allon.
It was tough. There were some wonderful entries.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if I think back to the original criteria that we had, we were looking for simple, practical ideas.
Yeah, we wanted them to be the individuals to be well informed.
Yeah, and I think where people brought their own experience or where they were really looking at working in the field, those really stood out for us.
Yeah, and of course the response, the design had to be appropriate for the context in which it was being used as well. That was very important for us as well.
Yeah, yeah, those were the sorts of things we were looking for. We were also looking for sustainability of the idea, things that could grow to really fulfill the need that was sought by the project in the beginning.
And of course, we also didn't want to have over-engineered product processes. So we looked for simplicity as well,
yeah, and
practicality.
Yeah, and you'll see. I think you'll see some of those attributes in a lot of the entries today. So I think, without any further ado, let me get on to some announcements. I want to say before we do this that we were very impressed with the student work. We thought that the students were every bit as inventive and rigorous and brave as the professionals.
Yeah, sometimes we asked, is this really a student entry?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it not a professional entry?
That's right.
Yeah.
Always constantly checking that. And so that's kudos to all the entries. Many students, even some we won't read out today, who did such excellent work. Well done. So what we're going to do is read out our notable entries first. And we have quite a few in the student category. The first one is Sustainable Sanitary Pad by Diana Sierra of Earth Institute at Columbia University for Millennium Promise, Uganda. And it's out of North Bergen, New Jersey in the United States of America. The title is quite descriptive. It is a sanitary pad concept for girls in high school. And it's a concept of using a cover and then using whatever materials available to put inside, be that washable cloth or toilet paper, whatever suits the circumstance.
Yeah, it was very interesting for us that all the jury members were men.
Yeah.
We had to bring in a woman and ask her for her opinion as well, because of the practicality question.
Yeah, she was pretty emphatic though.
Yeah, she was.
Award this thing. It's great. So, yeah, we really thought that there are many solutions to this, or there are many good attempts out there to address this problem, because girls around the world in the developing world struggle with managing their natural cycle and all the issues that come with that, particularly staying in school. And this one is a great addition, we think, to that area. All right, the next entry, which is a notable entry in the student category, is Immune by Peter Beagle of Virginia Tech, who worked with Akshay Sharma out of Blacksburg, Virginia in the United States of America. And this is a smartphone-based system for identifying children for vaccination using a very familiar product in India particularly, but around the developing world.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it was a necklace.
It's a necklace, a child's necklace, yes.
Yeah. And all the kids you see in the picture were wearing either that necklace or other types of necklaces.
Yeah. Seelan on our panel, who's Indian, said those necklaces are so
prolific.
Ubiquitous, prolific, everywhere in India. The other part that the concept used was the mobile phone, which is found everywhere in the developing world. And then, of course, the existing system of delivering to these areas. So we thought the clever use of what's existing there and just adding the ability to organize that was really stood out for us.
And inculcating it into the culture of wearing new necklaces.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. The next notable entry is Notex wristband by Charandeep Singh Kapoor of National Institute of Design, India, and Ahmedabad. And it's India for Blind Association, Ahmedabad. This is really one of the simple ones.
Yeah.
It's a bracelet which people can wear, like a slap bracelet that you've seen novelty stores around the world. And it's used in this case for blind people to measure their money so that they know which note they're using so they can't be cheated.
I thought it was such a beautiful concept. In fact, for me, it was one of the ones that I thought was going to be on our winning list.
Yeah.
Until it got knocked back into notable. But it was such a wonderful, simple idea.
Yeah. For us, I think, really the best example of simplicity amongst some other fantastic simple products. The next notable entry is Giradora Safe Agua by G. Ayo and Alex Kabong of Design Matters at Art Center College of Design for Innovation Center in Pasadena, California, in the United States of America. This product is a human-powered washing machine and spin dryer, which I loved.
And there are many human-powered spin dryers and spin washers, but this stood out for me just from the design point of view and its practicality as well.
Yeah, I love the way that the design was really well resolved. It's powered by sitting on it and pedaling, pushing a pedal, which is a really efficient way of transferring power into the machine. So it's not, winding it up or something like that. That was neat. I like the field work that was done on this one. Lots of good field work in the entries we're reading today, but this one was also good. Yeah. And I think that a lot of different things came together in this product to make it work, and all of them well handled.
Yeah.
The next notable entry is Reach and Match by Mandy Shook-Man-Low at Monash University, Melbourne, in Australia. And this is a learning toy, a Braille learning toy for children with disabilities, specifically children with visually impaired children.
I love the amount of research that went into it. When you saw the entry, the amount of detail in the research and the deep understanding of both the problem and how to solve it, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. To the designers out there, this is, Allon is not from our industry, and when he saw the kind of detail work that can go into a really rigorous design process, he was blown away. I mean, that's something you don't see too often outside of our industry. And
I made Tasos go, when he was clicking through the slides, go through it much slower. I really was blown away by the detail in the research.
Yeah. And then I think this is our final notable entry in the students' entries. It's called Ento, The Art of Eating Insects by Iran Dasan.
Yes, you heard it right. The Art of Eating Insects.
Yes, insects. Yeah. And it's right there in the title, folks. I think that tells you why we're interested. Also by Jackie Chung, Jonathan Fraser, and Julian Aguirre. They're called Team Ento at Royal College of Art and Imperial College London in the United Kingdom.
Yeah. I like the reason why I think this made it notable was because how they were. It was a social construct.
Yeah, video is frozen. People, let's unfreeze it. Great.
Yeah, the reason why I really enjoyed this one was because it's about changing the social discourse on what we're going to need to be eating into the future.
Yeah, because if you think about it, insects are a very rational thing to eat.
Yeah.
Low energy consumption in growing them. And when I had a look at some of the research around this afterwards, after we'd done the judging, I saw a lot of work on the production side of the future where probably we'll be eating insects. but not so much work on how we're going to present that to people in such a way that they can accept it.
And that was, I think, the difference they showed us how.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what stood out for me.
Yeah, a lot of work on how you would cook it, coming up with recipes, making it attractive. I mean, I started to consider it myself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Looked tasty to me.
Yeah. All right, and then because we had such difficulty, you can see in this group we have quite a few notables. We couldn't decide on one runner-up. We chose two instead. So the first of those is Balde a Balde, Safe Agua by Kim Chow at Design Matters at Art Center College of Design for Innovation Center, Pasadena, California, in the United States of America. And this is a portable faucet or tap for people in the English world, the English world. It's essentially a way of transferring water from buckets and open containers with a portable tap.
We had the discussion about the fact that there are many buckets with a tap on it.
Yeah.
You know, and what was different around this. But this was a very simple solution. It made it was far more portable and far more user friendly than the current bucket system with the tap on it.
Yeah, and I mean, running water is so important compared to water standing in a container. And delivering that running water in a simple, effective way, you know, it seems to be a challenge. There are similar types of products out there, but this one was so beautifully resolved in the industrial design. Really was taken great care in the whole process. We just had to put it up there on the runners-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So congratulations.
Yeah, for our first runner-up. The second runner-up, well, they're equal runners-up, is Care Trade, Smart Touch by Ho Tzu Cheng, Luke Fusaro, Kevin Bigham, and Ruby Steele of Royal College of Arts in London in the United Kingdom. And this is a blood glucose monitor for diabetics, and it integrates into a smartphone. It has an application which runs the system, and it also has an ability for a person who's using the system to be able to contribute to a diabetic person in the developing world.
The concept, absolutely wonderful, and taking us into the future of where, you know, cell phones or mobile phones are going to be going, how they're going to interact with us even more than they're doing right now.
Yeah. And I remember the debate was, well, why have this integrated into the mobile phone? Why not have a standalone device? And as we started to look into that and talk about it and so on, we started to see the benefits of it. Also, I think in this one, the way that the three things were integrated, the product, the application, the developing world link, so that you have a total ecosystem, that really impressed me, that there was a thinking about a whole system of use in this case. It wasn't just the gadgets.
Very well thought through.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to our winner in the student.
Do we need
section.
a drum roll?
Do we have a drum roll? Can the producers give us a drum roll? It's Adaptair Pediatric Nasal Interface by Alejandro Palangioglu of Stanford University, who worked with David Janka, Neil Meha, and Elizabeth Zambricki. They are from Stanford in California in the United States of America. And this is a device that's used for children who are undergoing respiratory therapy. It attaches around the nose, and it delivers oxygen into the nose as a means of therapy. I think, firstly, we love this because it is a really impressive answer to the number one cause of child mortality for children under 5 years old.
Yeah, huge amount of field work went into it. You saw that in the preparation. Very impressive.
Yeah, and a product that is, we saw prototypes working in the field, and they looked like the final thing. So for a student project, just absolutely well thought through. And the results of the therapy are outrageously good. So its ability to do this job better than what was there before just stood out for me amongst, entries.
And for me, what stood out is how simple it was. Really, it was just a simple design, but beautiful design. Yeah,
one of those entries I panicked about at some point and phoned up a doctor, a surgeon friend of mine, to ask, is this a serious issue? And this type of therapy is widely used, it's poorly done, and this is a real answer to a serious problem that actually kills children. So
well done to our winners.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
That also brings us to the professional category. our first notable entry is called Social Unit Number 1 by Wouter Kalis of Social Unit, who worked with Corinne de Korver for Salvation Army in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. This is a cupboard and a bed in one that's used in open spaces to house homeless people, specifically in the context of the Salvation Army in Amsterdam.
I mean, our debate always was that we can't think around the solutions just for the developing world. We have to look at the developed world, the first world as well, and solutions there. And what came out for us was the real benefit of this was the dignity that it provided. It provided dignity. I think that was the outcome of this design.
Yeah, and also it was the response was dealt with the issue with such grace, which I thought was wonderful about it. And for its context, it just works. The second notable entry in the professional category was called Safety Lock AK-47 by Sylvia Holten for Danish Demining Group from Copenhagen in Denmark. Yeah, and this one was controversial.
Well, I think this went on and off and on and off the list. We debated this ad nauseum.
Yes.
But it eventually made it not only, it made it onto the notable list because of its importance in its context.
Yeah, again, probably the extreme of the previous notable entry, but this is a lock for an AK-47 rifle, so that if the rifle is left around the house, or if you need to go out to the stores and you happen to live in Somalia, it can't be stolen, it can't go off accidentally.
Well, it can be stolen, it just can't be used.
Yes, it can be stolen. It's less likely to be.
I mean, the debate is, you don't, who's leaving the AK-47 around for their kids?
Yeah, sounds crazy to you and I.
But in the context, apparently, it's a problem. It's a problem.
And our assessment was that this product represents a much bigger idea. The fact that weapons that are sold to ordinary people around the world don't have some means of being locked in themselves is kind of crazy. They should be. They should be. In fact, if the idea of locking weapons, not in a safe, but the weapon itself is locked and unusable, became popular, I think we'd see some positive results in society around the world.
Yeah.
All right, our next notable entry in the professional entries is UNICEF Project Mwana by Frog for UNICEF Zambia out of San Francisco, California in the United States of America. And this is a mobile service that connects, that it delivers HIV results directly to clinics, and a messaging system helps the clinics and the workers to communicate about the results with the people and also back to their headquarters.
HIV is such a big issue in Africa and all around the world. But the speed at which information travels is vitally important. Just personally, I've just lost somebody close to us to HIV. And from the time they found out, it was already too late. And I think it's very important to get people that information so they can at least get onto ARVs as soon as possible.
Yeah. We also we've seen other projects like this, and we didn't know. By the way, the judges don't know who enters these projects. We didn't know that Frog was this entrant, and they've done previous work in this area, but we saw the logical build on what's gone before and how this builds actually to a platform for working with medical results and other kinds of social development work as well. That really stood out for us as well. It's not just the particular application here, but how this can be used elsewhere. Our next notable entry is called Know Your Lines by the Center for Urban Pedagogy. And I'm never sure if I say that right, but they're out of Brooklyn, New York, in the United States of America. This is a means of informing people about how the lines for voting areas are drawn so that people can start to become engaged in the process of making sure their lines aren't redrawn. And the video is stuck again. It comes back. This is to make sure that people understand the way in which their lines are drawn so that the voting lines are not used against the people who are voting.
Yeah. Another big gerrymandering, I think
that's the term.
Called. Yeah, another big word. I don't know if I'm getting that right either.
Yeah, that was look that up.
What I liked about this was that you could use, I'm not too much in the design space. So what I found fascinating is using design for social activism. I mean, that's a wonderful concept. And for me also that you could use it for social engineering. And I love that.
Yeah. And for me, how democracy starts to get used against the people it's supposed to benefit is a huge issue around the world.
Yeah.
And that particularly in developed democracies. So for me, that was such a relevant issue. And I thought the way that the design made it better in this particular entry was, for me, the outstanding quality.
Yeah.
All right. Our next one is our one runner-up in the professional entries. It's called Earthquake Proof Table by Arthur Brutter and Ido Bruno for Bezalel Labs Limited, Jerusalem, Israel. And this is a table, a school table, where two students can hide underneath in the event of an earthquake. And we watched the video.
Impressive video.
Of a ton of steel or concrete or whatever it was dropping on this thing.
Yeah.
And not breaking the table, definitely saving someone's life underneath it.
Yeah, the problem is that I think when earthquakes happen, is that if the building falls on a school table, it's going to crush the table and crush the kids.
Yeah.
So it might, if it might save them to some degree, but this particular response to the problem was really a 1 ton of it could withstand 1 ton of concrete.
Yeah. I mean, we don't live in an earthquake zone, so we don't know how it is. But I had to look this up as well. Apparently, children are told to, in many places, told to hide underneath a table. And in many cases, that table won't do anything to save them.
And once again, the debate here was around first world, third world, the affordability. It's an expensive product that really works. But once again, looking at the problem that there's a lot of earthquake zones in the first world.
Yeah.
And this was a response for that.
Yeah, and I think very affordable if you think about earthquake proofing an entire building, then it makes sense. Also, it creates evacuation passages through the desks.
Yes.
There were so many benefits to it in that regard as well. So I thought maybe it doesn't answer all the questions, but it answers so many of them. It could save so many lives if it were in the schoolhouses or in universities, in many places where people have to sit at desks. So it had to be our runner-up.
So well done.
Congratulations.
And now another drum roll.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you. Our winner in the professional category is Elio Domestico by Gabriele Diamanti for local craftsmen in developing countries and NGOs. And it's out of Milano in Italy. It's an open source eco distiller. It's a big pot that distills water for safe drinking, and it can distill brackish water, seawater, dirty water, you name it, it can clean it.
Simple.
Yeah.
Sunlight.
Yeah, using the sun. And that's the thing about this particular entry is the increased efficiency over previous stills. So it's much more efficient. It produces more water per day. That attracted me.
But I think the big one was the fact that it was open source.
Yeah. It said here in the beginning that it's not for major multinational corporation to be sold. It's for local craftsmen anyway. And it's designed to be made wherever. It has steel components, it has ceramic components, but they can be made reasonably easily in most developing countries. And that's the way to go on this thing.
Yeah, and I think with water security is a big issue right now, not just for the future, even as we speak. I think this is a wonderful, simple solution to that. It's certainly not going to make enough water for bathing, etc., but certainly for cooking, for drinking. That's a very simple solution.
Yeah, and I think, for me, making it locally, making it open source, the extra efficiency, many of the entries that we had addressed their business case, the sustainability model. And I would say of our criteria that we mentioned in the beginning, the one that was addressed least well by all the very many entries we looked at was how would this thing sustain itself into the future? How well could it scale into being really effective in its market? And this one doesn't produce a business model, but makes it available to a lot of people. It tells us this design is serious about people using his product. Yeah.
So congratulations.
Well done. All right, that brings us to the end. And in general, we'd like to thank everybody who entered. We'd like to thank, firstly, the people we mentioned today. Well done. Your work was exemplary. it was a great pleasure to be on the panel to look at your entries and to adjudicate them. But to all the people that entered, we saw so much great work. Some of it was just a shade away from being on the list today. Some of it was so wonderful it could have been a winner, but maybe we're missing one or two components that would have done the job. So we would encourage you to enter again. Come back next year, bring more of your concepts. They're a great pleasure to judge, and we really look forward to see what you'll bring that will do good in the world in the future.
For me, I was very impressed by the diversity of how a design could be used in so many different applications.
Yeah.
Somebody sort of on the periphery of the design world and not really immersed in it, that to me what stood out the most is that is design. That is design. What beautiful design.
Yeah.
And it's not about a simple product. It's about a process or a system. Really.
Yeah.
So that's what stood out for me. So I was most impressed and very honored to be part of this jury.
Yeah, it was a worry for me that perhaps you know, I'm going to be fighting for design all the way through. I didn't have to, because it was obvious what was good.
Yeah.
And I think that's yeah, that's a real credit to the entries, all of them. All right, so from Pretoria, South Africa, from wonderful innovation hub, in the sunlight of winter, we wish you well. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I can't say that.
Design it better.
Congratulations, all of the notable entries, the runner-ups, and the winners. Thank you.
Goodbye.